Ladies, let me break this down for you real clear because a lot of people out here are confused. A high-value woman, she ain't out here yelling at no man, trying to force him to act right. She's not going back and forth, raising her voice, trying to manipulate, control, or guilt trip a man into treating her the way she deserves. That's not how she moves. That's not how she talks. She don't speak in demands. She speaks in standards. See, there's a difference. A demand says you better do this or else. A standard says this is who I am and this is what I accept in my life. A demand is about control. A standard is about clarity. A high-value woman doesn't have to threaten you to keep you. She don't have to nag you to respect her. She simply sets the tone. And if you can't match it, she move on. Not out of anger, not out of drama, but out of self-respect. Now let me tell you something, because some people think having standards means being stuck up or arrogant. That's not the case. A woman with real standards knows how to communicate with grace. She's not loud, but she's firm. She don't need to curse you out or call you names. No. She simply says, this is how I live. This is what I value. And if that doesn't work for you, that's okay, but I'm not lowering myself to fit into something that doesn't honor who I am. You ever seen a woman like that? She walks into the room and doesn't even say much, but her energy speaks volumes. You can just tell. She ain't about to settle. She's not desperate. She's not looking for attention. She's waiting to be approached with intention. And if a man steps to her sideways, he'll find out real quick, this ain't the one you can play with. That's the power of standards. A high-value woman doesn't need to scream her worth. She lives it. And because she lives it, her words carry weight. When she tells a man, I value communication, and I don't tolerate ghosting or inconsistency, she's not trying to scare him, she's being clear. When she says, I'm looking for a partnership, not a situationship, she's not asking for too much, she's just being honest. The thing is, men can feel that. Real men respect that. Boys get intimidated by it, but men appreciate it. Because a woman with standards makes you level up. She makes you think twice before playing games. She makes you want to bring your best self to the table, not because she demands it, but because she inspires it. Let me give you an example. Let's say a high-value woman is dating someone new. They go out a couple times, and then he starts pulling back, starts taking longer to reply, starts being vague about plans. A woman with no standards might start chasing him, asking, what's wrong? Why aren't you calling me? But a high-value woman, she ain't about to beg. She'll say, hey, I've noticed a shift. If your interest has changed, that's fine. I just value communication and honesty. I'm not here to play guessing games. You see the difference? She's not attacking him. She's not accusing him. She's just being clear. She's giving him a chance to step up, but she's also making it clear she won't stand confusion. That's how you separate the ones who are serious from the ones who are just passing time. And trust me, she ain't afraid to let go because she knows her worth doesn't drop just because somebody else doesn't recognize it. Now, I'm not saying she's perfect. A high-value woman isn't some cold-hearted statue walking around with a checklist. No, she's loving, she's compassionate, but she's also wise. She's learned from her past. She's had moments where she stayed too long, accepted too little, gave too much, and now she's grown. She knows that love doesn't mean losing yourself. That compromise doesn't mean disrespecting your own needs. And that's why the way she talks to men is different. She's not afraid to say what she wants, but she says it in a way that invites maturity. She's not emotional all over the place. She's centered. And when she speaks, it's not about control, it's about connection. She says, this is where I'm headed. If you're on that same page, let's grow. If not, I wish you well, but I'm not slowing down. See, that's powerful because when a woman has standards, she teaches people how to treat her. Not with lectures, but with the way she carries herself. And the beautiful part is, the right man, he won't be offended by her standards. He'll be grateful for them because they give him direction, they help him grow, they make him feel safe. A man of value wants a woman who knows what she wants. He doesn't want to guess. He doesn't want to play. So when she talks to a man, it's not about putting him down. It's about lifting both of them up by setting the tone from the start. Not by demanding perfection, but by expressing her values, her vision, and her voice. And if he's a real man, he'll listen, he'll rise, and he'll respect her even more for it. I want you to hear me on this. The high-value woman's number one priority ain't a man. It's herself. That's right, she values herself first. And I'm not talking about being selfish or stuck up. I'm talking about knowing your worth so well that nobody, I mean nobody, can put a discount sticker on what God made priceless. See, a lot of people out here trying to find love before they even love themselves. And that's the problem. They're looking for somebody to fill a hole that ain't nobody's job to fill but theirs. But a high-value woman? Nah. She ain't waiting on a man to complete her. She's already whole. She's got her mind right, her spirit strong, and her heart full. Anything a man brings into her life, that's extra. That's a bonus, not a bandage. You can feel it when you're in the presence of a woman who truly values herself. She don't move desperate. She don't try to force things. She's got peace, and peace is powerful. You can't manipulate her with fancy talk. You can't buy her with gifts and trips. She's not for sale because her confidence ain't rented, it's owned. She looks in the mirror and loves the woman she sees, not because she's perfect, but because she knows what she's been through. She respects her own journey. She's healed from things she don't even talk about. She's cried in silence, rebuilt herself, and showed up the next day like nothing happened. That kind of woman, she walks different. When a woman values herself, she sets the tone for how others treat her. She's not out here trying to convince someone to stay. She's not chasing validation. She validates herself. She's not asking, why didn't he choose me? She's saying, if he couldn't see my worth, he wasn't for me anyway. Let me make this clear. Valuing yourself doesn't mean you don't want love. It means you refuse to settle for less than love. You're not going to be somebody's part-time, somebody's maybe, somebody's convenience. You'd rather be alone in peace than attached in confusion. That's self-respect, that's self-worth, that's power. And when a high-value woman talks to a man, she don't talk from insecurity, she talks from strength. She's not asking him to make her feel beautiful. She already knows she is. She's not begging for time and attention. She attracts it naturally because she brings substance, not just surface. She doesn't need a man to shine. She brings her own light. Let me tell you what happens when a woman starts valuing herself. She stops over-explaining. She stops over-giving. She stops accepting the bare minimum. She starts saying no without guilt. She starts protecting her peace. She starts choosing her mental and emotional health over a toxic relationship. She starts setting boundaries and keeping them. See, valuing yourself means you don't let people play with your heart just because you're afraid to be alone. You start seeing that alone doesn't mean lonely. It means space to grow. It means time to reflect. It means you're building a life that's full, with or without a partner. And here's the thing, when a woman truly values herself, the kind of man she attracts changes. Because when your standards go up, the clowns fall off. The ones who were just there for the chase, the game, the ego boost, they don't even try anymore. Because they know they can't meet you where you are, and that's a good thing. Let them go. Because the one who's meant for you, he ain't going to be intimidated by your strength. He's going to respect it. He's going to match it. You can't ask someone to value you more than you value yourself. That's why the real work starts on the inside. You got to believe you're enough before anyone else does. You got to talk to yourself better. Encourage yourself. Stop doubting your own shine. Stop shrinking to fit into places you've outgrown. That's what high-value women do. They show up with a heart full of love, but a backbone made of steel. And it ain't about being loud or flashy. It's about being grounded. It's about walking in purpose. It's about knowing that peace is the new pretty and self-worth is the new sexy. A woman like that, she don't have to compete. She don't have to perform. She just is. And that's more powerful than any game out there. So when she enters the relationship, she enters from a place of fullness. She's not asking a man to save her. She's asking him to walk beside her. And if he's not ready, that's okay. Because she'll keep walking. Her value doesn't drop just because someone else doesn't see it. She knows what she brings to the table, and she's not afraid to eat alone if it means protecting her peace. That's the kind of woman who's unstoppable. That's the kind of woman who changes the room when she walks in, not because she's loud, but because she knows who she is. Especially women learn the hard way. Words don't mean nothing without action behind them. A high-value woman, she knows this from experience. She don't fall for sweet talk, empty promises, or smooth lines. That kind of woman listens with her ears, but she watches with her eyes. And trust me, her eyes don't lie. See, a man can say anything. He say you're beautiful, say he loves you, say he wants to be with you forever. That's easy. Talking is free. But a high-value woman, she ain't judging you by what you say. She's judging you by what you do. Because she knows any man can talk like a king, but only a real one can act like it. She's not impressed by a "I miss you" text at 2 a.m. if she didn't hear from you all day. She's not touched by long paragraphs if your behavior don't line up with what you're writing. She's not falling for that "I've changed" line if your habits still look the same. See, she's been through enough to know that consistency is louder than charm, and effort is louder than excuses. A high-value woman is watching everything, and not because she's paranoid or hard to please. Nah, it's because she respects herself too much to get caught up in fantasy. She's learned how to separate potential from reality. That's the key. She doesn't date a man for who he could be. She dates him for who he actually is right now. Not the version he's promising to become, but the man he's showing up as today. Let me paint you a picture. Say a man tells her he's serious. Says he's looking for a real woman. Says he's done with the games. Cool. She hears that. But now she's watching. Does he follow through? Does he call when he says he will? Does he make plans and stick to them? Does he listen when she talks? Does he respect her time, her boundaries, her values? Because if the words say one thing and the actions say another, she's not sticking around to decode the confusion. She's not going to sit there trying to interpret mixed signals like it's a puzzle. She don't have time for "he said this, but maybe he meant that." She knows grown men communicate through action. And if the action is missing, so is her interest. You see, she knows the difference between effort and energy. A man can give you attention and still not give you effort. He can blow up your phone but never show up for your real life. He can flirt all day but never take the next step. That's not real. That's surface level. And a high-value woman don't live on the surface. She's deep, she's intentional, and she's watching what sticks. A lot of people get caught up in the butterflies, the chemistry, the potential, but a high-value woman, she's grounded. She knows butterflies don't build relationships. Consistency does. She don't just want excitement. She wants stability. She wants reliability. She wants to know that when life gets real, and it will, that the man she's choosing knows how to show up and stay steady. She doesn't reward inconsistent behavior with continued access to her heart. She doesn't give second, third, and fourth chances to the same broken promise. She's not afraid to walk away from a man who talks the talk but can't walk the walk. Because here's what she's learned. A man's pattern is more powerful than his apology. And if the pattern don't change, the promise don't matter. She's not bitter, she's just built. Built from pain, built from lessons, built from experience. And now her love is selective. Her time is valuable. Her energy is sacred. She's not in the business of trying to raise a man or teach someone how to treat her right. She's in the business of alignment, finding someone whose actions already speak the language of respect, effort, and consistency. And let me tell you something else. Men know this. Real men know you can't win a high-value woman with games. They know you can't fake your way into her life. You got to come correct. You got to be real. You got to mean what you say and prove what you mean. Because she don't have time for confusion. She don't thrive in maybes. She don't respond to breadcrumbs. If you're not showing up in full, don't bother knocking at her door. And it ain't about perfection. She's not looking for a perfect man. She knows mistakes happen. She knows life gets messy. But she's watching how you handle those mistakes. Do you take accountability? Do you make it right? Do you grow from it or do you repeat it? That's what separates boys from men in her eyes. Not your charm, not your money, not your looks, but your character. That's why when a high-value woman listens, she's not just listening to your voice, she's listening to your habits. She's watching your follow-through. And if your actions are matching your words, she's gone. Quietly, peacefully. And she won't be back because she knows her peace is worth more than empty promises. That's how she protects herself. That's how she moves. That's how she stays in her power. Not by demanding loyalty or begging for effort, but by observing actions and acting accordingly. No drama, no mess, just standards. Let me tell you something that separates a high-value woman from the rest. It's not the way she looks, what she wears, or how much she's got in the bank. Nah. It's the way she speaks. And when she speaks, you can feel it. She's not talking from a place of insecurity. She's talking from confidence. That kind of woman, she doesn't need to tear anybody down. Feel lifted. She doesn't need to pretend. She just is who she is, and that's more than enough. When a woman is secure in herself, it shows in every word she says. She's not afraid to speak up, but she doesn't speak to prove herself. She speaks to express herself. There's a difference. She's not trying to win a man's attention with drama or play games to keep him guessing. She knows that a relationship built on fear, jealousy, or control ain't real love. That's manipulation, and she don't operate like that. See, when a woman is insecure, her words come from fear. Fear of losing him, fear of being replaced, fear of not being enough. So she starts questioning everything. Where are you? Why didn't you call me back? Do you still love me? That kind of energy pushes people away. It creates pressure, not peace. But when a woman is confident, she trusts herself. She trusts what she brings to the table. She knows that if someone can't see her value, that's their loss, not her failure. A high-value woman doesn't need constant reassurance because she reassures herself. That's not to say she doesn't appreciate affection or attention. Of course she does. But she's not dependent on it. She's built her foundation on something solid. That means if a man starts acting funny, she doesn't chase, she doesn't beg, she doesn't lose sleep over someone who's unsure about her. She simply steps back and lets him show his true intention. Now, don't get it twisted. Confidence isn't about being arrogant. It's not about being cold or acting like you don't care. A confident woman cares deeply. She loves hard. She supports her man. But she does all of that without losing herself. She doesn't shrink to make him feel bigger. She doesn't silence her voice to keep the peace. She speaks up with love, with clarity, and with purpose. When she addresses an issue, she's calm. She's direct. She's not out here throwing tantrums or throwing shade. She'll say, look, I'm feeling disconnected lately and I want to talk about it. Not, you never care about me. See the difference? One is emotional maturity, the other is emotional reactivity. And a high-value woman chooses maturity every single time. That's because she's done the work. She's faced her insecurities. She's healed old wounds. She knows her triggers and she knows how to manage them. So when she speaks, she doesn't project her pain onto other people. She doesn't punish her new man for what the last one did. She communicates with grace, not with guilt. And that confidence, man, let me tell you, it's attractive. It draws the right kind of attention. Real men are drawn to a woman who knows who she is. Not because she's flashy, but because she's real. She doesn't pretend to be low maintenance when she knows she needs communication. She doesn't pretend to be okay with something just to keep a man. She's honest. And that honesty, that's power. Let me give you a real example. Say a man starts texting her less, not calling as much. Energy shifts. An insecure woman might start blowing up his phone, asking, did I do something wrong? A confident woman, she'll say, I've noticed a change in our communication. If something's going on, I'm open to a conversation. But if your energy is moving in a different direction, I respect that. I just won't chase what doesn't want to stay. Boom. You feel that? That's confidence. No begging, no blaming, just truth. And she means it too. Because her confidence isn't fake. It's not a front. It's real, rooted, and unshakable. It comes from knowing that whether a man stays or goes, she'll be okay. Not because she doesn't care, but because she cares about herself first. She's not trying to be the cool girl who never asks for anything. She's not trying to be the ride or die for someone who ain't even trying. She's not playing roles. She's living her truth. And her truth is this: I love myself enough to speak up. I respect myself enough to walk away. And I trust myself enough to know that the right man won't be threatened by my standards. He'll be inspired by them. That's how high-value women talk. They don't compete, they connect. They don't manipulate, they communicate. They don't come from fear, they come from faith. Faith in who they are and what they deserve and in what they won't tolerate. That kind of woman doesn't raise her voice, she raises her energy. And that energy speaks before she even opens her mouth. So when she talks to a man, it's not about control. It's about clarity. She's not saying, do this or else. She's saying, this is who I am, this is what I need. If you align with that, let's grow. If not, I'll release you in peace. And that's not cold, that's strength. That's what confidence sounds like. And that's why she stands out in a world full of noise. Because when she speaks, people listen.